Welcome back to the Soul Show, family. Today we're going through the Foreword of the Warrior Within by John Little. So let's get started. To the general public, Bruce Lee was a famous Chinese movie star in martial arts films. To the martial arts community, Bruce Lee was a sensational martial artist with superb fighting skills and a stage presence, who was also the founder of a new fighting system. However, very few people know that Bruce Lee was also an innovative thinker, a philosopher, and a scholar who had a deep understanding of Chinese Taoist and Zen philosophy. For me, it was a great privilege to become one of his students, training at his Los Angeles school in 1967. Bruce was a master teacher, a creative genius of the 20th century who was able to combine the ancient philosophy of the Tao with a Chinese Wing Chun system, modern Western boxing skills, and karate kicks to create a thoroughly effective unarmed fighting system, which he called Jeet Kune Do, commonly translated into English as the way of the intercepting fist, or JKD. His teachings have awakened in me a new understanding of the ultimate reality in unarmed combat and have totally altered not only my training, but my whole life. Bruce Lee's thoughts and writings regarding his JKD philosophy were printed in many publications over a period of some 16 years. Some of these periodicals have long since vanished from existence, and that's another reason why I'm here, which has made it very difficult indeed for anyone hoping to learn more about Bruce Lee's life and philosophy. It is equally frustrating for those of us in the martial arts who have longed to learn more about particular aspects of his fighting art. Fortunately, my friend John Little, whom I've come to know quite well over the past 12 months, has succeeded in this respect. He is to be commended for tackling his monumental task of writing the definitive book on Bruce Lee's philosophy. John has spent over 2 years and traveled to at least 3 continents in an effort to gather all of the written and spoken words of Bruce Lee, intermingling Bruce material with his own well-researched comments. John has created a comprehensive book with 17 chapters under 3 major headings. One may read this book from beginning to end, or one may choose to read any chapter whose heading seems to be interesting. Another reason I'm here, because each chapter was written on a particular aspect of Bruce's philosophy and therefore stands alone. Yet, when all the chapters are combined, they form a cohesive body. This book covers many aspects of Bruce's philosophy, his personal views on the issue of relationships, at different levels, and his approach to overcoming adversity and stress. There's even a chapter that John has devoted entirely to the 5 films Bruce produced, wherein he goes to great lengths to describe the interesting background of each film and the hidden messages that Bruce attempted to convey to its viewers. Also included are excerpts from a rare personal interview that John conducted with the late Brandon Lee, Bruce's son, that reveals a probing, inquisitive mind, very much like his father's. This chapter provides the reader with a rare glimpse of Brandon's life, his personality, and his aspiration in becoming a successful actor. In the appendices are two very informative essays by Alan Watts, a philosopher whom Bruce was particularly impressed by, as well as John Little's chronological list of the important events in Bruce's life and a listing of Bruce's principal works. These are valuable records for anyone wishing to know more about Bruce's accomplishments and contributions. For the for the martial artists at large, this book provides a valuable reference to better understand the philosophical foundations of Bruce Lee's unarmed combative art. From the JKD practitioner, the 3 stages of cultivation in Bruce Lee's martial art and the 4-step guide to self-enlightenment are fully explored. Since I was born, raised, and educated in China, and have been teaching the Chinese language and culture at Pasadena College for over 11 years, as well as serving as a Chinese language translator and lecturer on medical terminology at the Samara University of Chinese Traditional Medicine in Los Angeles. I would like to make a comment regarding the English translation of Jet Kwan Do. It has been commonly translated as the way of the intercepting fence. The way of the intercepting fist. And this is quite acceptable. I would like to expand the meaning of this translation, however. The word Tao produced Dao in Mandarin and Do in Cantonese means the way of nature or the creative force governing the universe. Thus, the term Jet Kwan Do, written in the Chinese language, would mean the intercepting fist that follows the principles of Tao. The same word in the Japanese language, do, carries the meaning the way of or the method of, or do carries the meanings the way of or the method of. Thus, the following Japanese terms are translated as indicated. Judo, the way of gentleness. Kendo, the way of sword fighting. Aikido, the way of harmonizing the chi. Shodo, the method of calligraphy. The Chinese sage Lao Tzu, the author of the Tao Tai Ching, stated, Tao is that form which all things in the universe are created. The process by which all things are created is produced by this energy or chi, which originates from Tao. This energy is divided into two aspects, yin and yang. All things in the universe have yin energy and yang energy. When yin and yang energies merge together, they produce a state of harmony. Bruce was so influenced by this concept of the harmonious existence of the yin-yang energies that he chose the yin-yang symbol, which is referred to by the Chinese as the Tai Chi, the grand ultimate, to be his school emblem in order to represent the core principle of his JKD fighting art, which contains and utilizes both the firm and pliable energies of yin yang. Bruce added 2 arrows around the Tai Chi circle to further emphasize that the JKD fighting techniques must contain the harmonious interplay of yin, pliable, yielding, and yang, firm, assertive energies. He emphasized that in his JKD fighting art, one does not oppose force with force, but rather complements one's opponent's strong force with yin or yielding energy. In his writings, Bruce stated metaphorically that the stiffest tree is easily cracked under pressure, but the bamboo survives by bending with the wind. He also wrote, "Be like water because it is soft, resilient, and formless. It can never be snapped." Since Bruce's passing, I have been training continually in JKD in my backyard with a few of my own students. I have closely followed Bruce's teaching. Aside from developing hard-hitting and powerful kicks, I have also trained in Tai Chi Quan and push hand techniques in order to balance my forceful yang energy with an appropriate degree of yin energy. I have since studied many Chinese manuscripts on Taoist philosophy and the Tai Chi Chan classics in order to better understand the nature of yin-yang energies and how to develop them. Excuse me. It is my firm conviction that Bruce believed hold on just a second, family. Let me get some of this coffee. It is my firm conviction that Bruce believed that JKD training must involve the cultivation of both yin and yang energies. The cultivating of yang energy involves the sharpening of what Bruce called one's martial tools, or the weapon of offense, such as kicking, punching, and grabbing. One must also raise his quality of execution by improving coordination, precision, speed, and power. The cultivation of yin energy, however, involves increasing the sensitivity and pliability of one's body improving the soft and yielding skill of one's limbs, and cultivating the relaxation of the mind and body, in addition to developing a detached attitude of mental poise and emotional calmness. Let me stop here for a minute. I previously said I've been doing this 10, this it's about going on 2 decades. Excuse that. I had to correct my own stats, which was a good thing. Let's keep going. As a result, one is able to move to a higher training level, developing the skill of spontaneous adaptation. This skill allows one to quickly generate the appropriate amount of energy, which complements the opponent's energy almost without conscious effort. During combat, for example, the goal is to use soft and yielding skill, yin energy, to neutralize the forces of one's opponent, rather than attempting to meet your opponent's force, yang energy. Yang energy. With additional stiff or resisting force, yang energy. Yang energy. As soon as one's opponent overextends himself and senses his weakness and retreats, yin energy, one should attack immediately, yang energy, to defeat him. This training is very challenging and exciting. I am far from accomplished at it. As Bruce mentioned in his writings, when one's adaptive skill reaches its highest level, it becomes as a shadow following effortlessly. Skill reaches its highest level, it becomes a shadow following effortlessly the moving object. Man, Allah gave me a scripture the other day, and it was I've been thinking about that ever since, and it was on the shadow. But he was saying something on the part of when your shadow don't move with you. Like, man, I must be outside my body then. When your shadow, because your shadow always with you in your meat suit. But if your shadow is not with you, you got to be outside of your meat suit. That's what I'm getting from it. But that brought me back to that. Let's go over it again. As Bruce mentioned in his writing, when one's adaptive skill reaches its highest level, it becomes as a shadow following effortlessly the moving object, or as a cork adapting itself to the crest and thors of the waves. That's interesting. Hit you without even moving. The shadow didn't even move, man. Oh, that's a bad boy right there. But anyway, let's keep going. Bruce also reminded us in his writings that the height of cultivation should move toward simplicity. It is the halfway cultivation that leads to ornamentation. The process to simplify is like a sculptor who continuously chisels away all the non-essentials until he creates a masterpiece. The cultivation of the respective yin and yang energies are listed in Bruce's book, The Tao of Jet Kwando. I don't know if I got that one or not. I've been collecting more books for this lately anyway, last 4 years. So it's a lot of books I have. Ain't no telling at this point. The Tao of Jet Kwando, which is readily available. I don't know that I will ever reach that level of proficiency in my lifetime, but Bruce will always be my role model and inspiration. Yes, I've been collecting a lot of books, a lot of books. And I've read a lot of books the last 4 years. And I'm full. And it's time for you to get back forward too. That's what they're afraid of. You become the God that you are. Let's keep going. To my fellow JKD practitioners, I hope you will have fun reading this book so that you may truly grasp Bruce's philosophy of JKD. Follow his training program, understand the 3 stages of cultivation, and his 4-step guide to self-enlightenment. The information John Little has presented in this book will make your pursuit of JKD a more illuminating and satisfying experience. I will be interested in exchanging ideas and sharing experiences with you. Please contact John to get in touch with me. In closing, then, let me quote from a famous Chinese Tao Chi Quan master teacher. When he noticed that his students were learning so many unrelated martial arts while taking his Tai Chi lessons, he admonished them with the following statement. Many students make the mistake of neglecting that which is near, that which is readily available and essential to you, to pursue what is far. Other martial arts that are non-essential or not related to the very art you are learning. Your error in judgment and pursuit will take you thousands of miles off course. Therefore, you must be careful to make a clear distinction between what is essential to you and what is not. Daniel Lee, Pasadena, California. That's another reason why I'm here. There's no need to be online, social media, all these outlets as far as information and just getting a lot of trash and garbage. If you're going to be on here, make it count. And that's what I'm here with intentions to do, even if it's 2 minutes. With that being stated, family, keep your heads up, stay focused, and read. Peace. Wait a minute. We still in the forward. We ain't finished. So we're going to just take a metro and then we come back with the other half. It's not over, family. Not over. And we're back. Let's keep going. On the 4. The course of a bird in flight pays no attention to the lines of east and west. Calligraphic inscription by Alan Watts. Anybody know who Alan Watts is? Bingo. Some time ago, I received a telephone call from Japan from a sincere gentleman who asked if I could recommend a few tapes on Zen by my father. He went on to explain that he had traveled from Seattle to Kyoto to study in a Buddhist monastery, but that after several years, he still had not received instruction in Zen. Anybody know what Zen is? Exactly. He was anxious to learn and was grateful when I directed him to a few favorite recordings. In this picture that you can't see, you have to get the book. But then you got Bruce Lee. East meets West. Bruce Lee was a pioneer in using a medium of film to teach Western audiences and even Western actors such as John Saxon left about Eastern philosophy. Let's keep going. Although ironic, this was not surprising, for Zen is not apt to be quickly taught to Westerners in Japan, since it is often misunderstood. It was surprising, however, when recently I discovered that Bruce Lee used to regularly record Alan Watts from the radio or television and play the tapes for his students. In reading his notes and interviews, it is apparent that my father's works were an important influence in his life. And like my father, awareness of the Tao was central to his art. Of course, the phenomenon of an accomplished Easterner teaching his Western students physical martial arts while finding spiritual inspiration in the works of a Westerner with a lifelong curiosity about Eastern wisdom is certainly unusual. But as John Little notes, the problem with the Western approach is that it attempts to explain life as opposed to revealing how to experience it. Both Lee and Watts were involved in teaching endeavors that were, in a sense, attempts to speak the unspeakable, to communicate the essence of something that can be understood only directly. In Taoism, they found a uniquely practical philosophy dedicated to, as it were, revealing the purposelessness of life. For in directing ourselves toward a goal, we verbally point our attention ahead and outside of the present moment. And as my father was fond of saying, if the goal of dancing were to reach a certain spot on the floor, then obviously the fastest dancer will be the best. The point of dancing is the dance itself, and so it is with life. The historical division between the objective Western world and the richly subjective East has, in the 20th century, begun to close, so that today the characteristic ways of experiencing the world attributed to each are seen in direct contrast all over the world. And although the significance of the symbolism on a colorful yin-yang t-shirt worn by an American youngster is probably not well understood, the extended arm from the car in front of me in traffic gracefully performing the movements of Tai Chi Chuan is obviously connected to an inwardly centered being who at least experientially understands something of the philosophy that inspired both Alan Watts and Bruce Lee. For in the words of Bruce Lee, life lives, and in the living flow. No questions are raised. The reason is that life is a living now. Completeness, the now, is an absence of the conscious mind to strive to divide that which is indivisible. For once the completeness of things is taken apart, it is no longer complete. In these words, Bruce Lee revealed that he had discovered a secret that seems to elude most modern people. The secret, simply put, is that although we can simultaneously live and contemplate life, to do so takes something out of it. For the reflective aspect of the self is not the whole or complete self. As David Bohm, the British physicist, said, the trouble with the small self is that it thinks it's the big self. On the following pages, one will find essential ideas once expressed by Alan Watts, Krishnamurti, both Suzuki's, Joseph Campbell, and many others. And long before by Lao Tzu, I read one of his books. Chan Tzu, I read so many books, it's ridiculous. I may be off a little bit. Buddha and Shankara, I think I have. Although many of these ideas are not new, their expression embodies a living art that points to a way of liberation my father once described as the religion of no religion. Finally, it appears that after Eastern and Western cultures pass while heading in opposite directions, the stage is now set for the development of an East-West culture based upon the best of each. The venturous spirit and curiosity of the West and the highly developed philosophical and aesthetic sensibilities of the East. The mutual receptivity of these elements has already contributed greatly to the birth of well-integrated ways of knowing. It now only remains to be seen in the directions of each culture will come around in a full circle to dance together in the classic image of Tai Chi. Mark Watts, San Anselmo, California. And with that being stated, family, I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, keep your heads up, stay focused, and read. Peace. Let me get there. If I get to the music here. All right. Going out as we always do. No, I didn't get tired. No, they didn't slay me. None of that. Just came back more bigger and improved as far as I'm concerned. Peace.